Hello, thanks for hopping over. If you're not subscribed yet, you should do that right now. And then also make sure that you hit that bell icon, because if you don't, YouTube just won't tell you that I'm posting anything, even if you're subscribed. It's very weird. Please also hit that like button if you are enjoying this content. So make sure you do those 3 things, and let's get into the video. Today we're going to be addressing the question, is a rabbit right for you? Now, this is a question that I have personally had to address myself over the past couple of weeks while I've been really thinking about if this is the right move for me. I kind of wrote down a few of the questions that go into answering that overarching question. So I'm going to be going over 10 questions that you should ask yourself in order to decide if a rabbit is the right pet for you. So question 1, am I ready for a 10 to 12 year commitment? Yeah. Rabbits can live a really long time. So if you're planning on getting a baby bunny, you need to be aware that your commitment is going to be 10 plus years. If you're taking really good care of your rabbit, they can live upwards of 12 years. I think for me, being 23, now I'm out on my own. I kind of have free reign over my own situation and my decisions for the next 10 years. So I feel that now I'm really ready to have one. I did have rabbits when I was 14, 15, and I do think that at that time, it actually wasn't the best time for me to have a rabbit. I did end up having to rehome my rabbits. They went to a great situation, but some people aren't capable of that and they end up in shelters, and this is how these types of things can happen. So if I were giving myself advice at 15 right now, I would tell myself, do not get rabbits right now. If you're in high school and you're thinking about getting one, just make sure that your parents are fully on board. Just make sure that your parents are fully on board with you, that they're fully supportive, because it's highly likely that you're gonna need their support if you head off to college and you're not able to take your rabbit. If you're not ready for that kind of commitment and you finish this video and answer all the other questions and feel really comfortable except for that 10-year commitment, you should seriously consider adoption. There are tons and tons of rabbits in the adoption system right now. There are tons that are still young that, you know, you could get a long lifespan out of. There are senior rabbits that are really great, that are calm. They are not as destructive as younger bunnies. So things like that, you may want to consider adoption, and I do think that you should consider adoption as your first option before going to a breeder. Question 2. I'm gonna have a separate video on this, but I'm probably gonna get a few comments. Am I old enough for a rabbit? Now, I know a lot of people on here looking at these rabbit videos, a large number of them are probably under 15 or around that age. If you're looking for a pet right now and you're trying to see if it's going to be a good fit for you and you really, really want a rabbit and you're between the ages of 10 and 13, you should really, really think about it. And it's great that you're doing research if you're in that age category. I think this is a really good way for you to start, but if you're under 15, you really shouldn't get a rabbit. They're extremely time consuming. They're very expensive to take care of. Kids lose interest in rabbits really easily because rabbits aren't these cuddly little creatures that people think they are. There's a lot of misinformation out there when you're just looking around. You're gonna get scratched. You're probably gonna get bitten, especially if you're a kid trying to play with your rabbit. Rabbits are kind of like cats as far as personality, you know. They'll come up and cuddle you at times when they want to, but with them being prey animals, they don't really like to be held. Their instincts tell them that all of their feet should be on the ground. When a child is picking them up and you got a lot of energy and you want to play and run around, it's gonna make the rabbit nervous. So really, I don't think that kids under 15 should get rabbits, and I honestly think that rabbits are really best for adults. If you're in high school, 14, 15, you're at the age where you would be able to take care of them and put forth the time and make sure that you're cleaning up after them and everything. It's that commitment thing that you need to think about. So if you're in high school thinking about getting one, I would heavily consider adopting a senior rabbit, a rabbit that's maybe like 5 or 6 years old, that has plenty of life left. Another thing that you should consider if you're still a child is to make sure that you have a 100% support from your parents in this. Your parents are going to be committed to helping you take care of the rabbit after you leave home. This is a huge thing. I know that getting a rabbit seems really fun, and it is. It's really fun, really rewarding, but you have to make sure that you can actually provide what they need, and you need to be honest with yourself about whether you're going to be able to provide that or not. So if you're a kid watching this, please don't get mad at me. I'm speaking from experience. I got a rabbit as an older kid, and I still think I should have waited. I have some regrets about that. Of course, I loved Willie and Sadie so much, but I would have saved myself a lot of heartache and being really sad that I had to rehome them when I went to college if I had just waited until now, until I have my own money coming in, I have my own space, and I'm not relying on anyone else to make decisions. If you are going to go ahead and get a rabbit, and make sure that you keep doing research like you are right now. Okay, question number 3. Do I have the time? A major reason that I decided that right now was a good time for me to get a rabbit is because I actually work from home. They're a huge time commitment. Litter box training, if you do get a baby bunny, you're gonna need to train them to use the litter box, and they're just messy. So you're gonna want to set time aside to clean every day, at least twice a day. Clean your rabbit's enclosure, or if they're free roaming, clean your home or the area that they're roaming in. And that doesn't include about an hour a week of doing a deep clean of your rabbit's enclosure or the area that they're living in. You're gonna want to do that deep clean weekly, I promise. Of restocking and feeding your rabbit. So restocking hay, you're gonna do that consistently throughout the day. Preparing veggies, they need to be cleaned off properly. So you're gonna spend about 15 minutes prepping hay and the veggies in the morning and 15 minutes at night. And then you're gonna want 3 to 4 hours of closely supervised free roaming time. So this totals at least 4 hours a day of care. Now, if you're a busy student, if your work schedule is really busy, if you're an adult, these are things that you're gonna wanna consider. Do you have the time to come home? Do you have the time in the morning to prep that food, to restock hay? So that's just something to consider, that they are very time consuming. Number 4, do I have the money? Do any of us have the money? Seriously, does anyone have money? Because I don't. Rabbits are arguably more expensive than dogs. If you get a bunny, you're looking at least $1,000 in the first year, probably more. I think with my rabbits, I spent around $1,500 in the first year. Rabbits need to be spayed and neutered. If you get them from a shelter, they'll probably already be spayed or neutered, and their adoption fees can range between like $20 and like $150. But that really covers a lot of things, especially if they're already like a year or 2 old. You kind of have some of those bases covered already for you. So I highly recommend adopting if you can. I'm trying to adopt right now. So yeah, startup costs are going to be at least $150 to $500 just for the things that they need. So enclosure, litter box, litter, hay, food, veggies, toys, everything, it really adds up. So I think my current wish list for my rabbit is somewhere around $400. So that's probably a pretty good median range. You could spend a lot more, and you could probably go a little cheaper on some things. Rabbits also need to see the vet every year, just like dogs. So there are yearly vaccines, yearly exams. The vet care for a rabbit is going to be more expensive than for a dog, because you have to see a vet that is comfortable with rabbits, that's comfortable with exotic animals, and that has seen rabbits before. Rabbits also have monthly expenses like hay. They need endless hay, fresh organic vegetables, pellets, and clean litter. Those monthly expenses can range from like $70 to $85 a month. So that's just for food and things that you need to replenish. You should really budget at least $1,000 a year. And I'm just gonna plug adoption again because it's cheaper to adopt. Another cost that you should be aware of is the cost of bunny proofing. If you're going to be free roaming your rabbit full-time or even part-time, you need to make sure that you have an area that is bunny proof, and I will have a video about that on my channel before I bring my new bunny home. Question number 5, do I have the space? This is a big one, literally. Rabbits need at least 10 to 12 square feet of running space just as their regular enclosure. So the most space that you can possibly give them is the best. Rabbits should be housed inside. Again, I will have a separate video on this. This is a partially controversial topic. I strongly believe that rabbits should be housed inside. To summarize why I believe this, rabbits are prone to illnesses. They can easily get sick when they're outdoors, and as prey animals, living outside can lead to high stress levels, which can lead to early death, to heart problems, and GI problems and all sorts of things. So stress equals bad, outside equals stress. bottom line. Rabbits are also very sensitive to the elements. They can freeze and overheat. I mean, a rabbit can get sick. It can be perfectly healthy in the morning and it can die in the evening. Being able to keep a close eye on them is super important. So make sure that before you get a rabbit, you have the space indoors, somewhere that you can keep them that's safe and that has plenty of room for them to run around. Number 6, have I done my research? If you're here, you're doing it. So don't worry, but I'm gonna say this, keep doing it. Don't watch all my videos. Don't watch all of 101 Rabbits videos or Lennon the Bunny. You want to, yes, check out your YouTube resources. A lot of the YouTubers that are out here right now are really trying their best to spread the correct information, but the truth is that we don't have all the info. I try to cite my sources, and I think that it's going to be really important moving forward, especially when it's health-related topics, that YouTubers should be citing their sources so that you guys can go and check those sources out too. I will leave some links below of good research sources, things that you can really read yourself. At the end of the day, I'm not a vet. We're not some kind of certified rabbit experts. We're just owners that care a lot. I have some education in my background and a little bit of health experience, but that doesn't mean that you should take everything I say and run with it. I strongly believe in doing your own research and always taking the information and translating it into your situation as best you possibly can and come to your own conclusions. We're here to help, but we don't always get it right too. So I think it's really important to not watch me, to not watch anyone else out there and take it for 100% fact. I think you should always do your research, and if you really want to get a rabbit and you really want to do the right thing by your rabbit, you will do your own research and put in that time. Number 7, do I mind a mess? I'm a very neat person. Messes bother me a little. I'm also a little bit OCD, which means that I'm probably going to be cleaning a little bit more than what I recommended you guys do. Keeping it clean is going to keep your rabbit clean, it's going to keep their area clean, and it will probably also encourage your rabbit to use the litter box better and to keep its own area clean when it notices that things are continuing to be clean. Rabbits are just messy, they're destructive, especially baby bunnies. They're really hyper, they like to chew. I'm going to bunny proof the crap out of my apartment, but I assure you that my rabbit is probably going to chew on something, and I just have to do my very best to keep my rabbit from doing that. Even a well litter trained rabbit will kick poop out of the litter box. They're going to drag hay everywhere. Your house or apartment or wherever you live is going to smell like hay. I hope you don't mind the smell of it. It is going to smell like that. If you don't clean the litter box daily, it's going to stink. Your rabbit is going to keep itself clean like a cat, so they're not going to be as stinky themselves. Like if you pick up a rabbit and sniff it, it doesn't smell, or it smells kind of good actually. It's really you. If you can keep it clean, your rabbit will be clean and your home will not stink. If you're not properly supervising your rabbit, they are going to tear things up. Baseboards, blinds, the legs of furniture, anything that you can think of. I have something right here that I'm looking at, and I know that my rabbit's gonna chew it up. You have to think ahead, but messes are inevitable. Keep that in mind. Number 8, can I provide a quiet, stress-free environment? Rabbits are really prone to stress. We don't want to stress out our rabbits. It's not good. If you have a lot of animals already living in your house, if you have a few dogs that like to bark all day, if you have young children running around that like to scream all day, you might want to consider getting a different pet. You're going to be exposing your rabbit to an extreme amount of stress that they don't need to have. If you listen, my apartment is very quiet. I have one dog. He doesn't bark very often. He will bark once in a while. He's a dog, but he doesn't do it a lot. And so I know that my rabbit will, in the very least, have a very calm and quiet environment. And number 9, I lied. There's only 9. I couldn't think of a 10th one. Can I afford 2? So except in rare cases, rabbits do best in pairs. They reduce stress. Rabbits are naturally herd animals, so they want to have those bonds, and having a bond with a human just isn't going to be enough. Your rabbit wants to have a meaningful and really important integral bond with another rabbit. That's just super important for them. I would budget $1,200 to $1,500 a year toward taking care of 2 rabbits because they are both going to need vet care. They're gonna eat twice as much food, that makes sense, but there are things that they're going to share as well. And if you can't, and you want to get a baby bunny and only get one and your mom will only let you get one, or whatever your situation is, you should really rethink it, or try adoption. Try to get a rabbit that maybe doesn't do well with other rabbits or something like that, where you can provide a home for it and you may be the best person for that rabbit. So that's kind of a great thing about adoption as well. Okay, so that was my 9 questions you should ask yourself before getting a rabbit. Hopefully some of this information has helped you. Please make sure that you ask your questions down below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and make sure that you click the bell icon so that you will get notified every time I post, because YouTube is stupid. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next Saturday with another video. Thanks, bye.